Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're jumping straight into the deep end of the source material to unpack two of the absolute most anxiety-inducing, high-stakes traffic stop edge cases imaginable. We're strictly focusing on what the guide calls Scenario 19 and Scenario 20. These are those rare situations where the standard rules of a traffic stop suddenly warp and your constitutional knowledge is put to the ultimate test.
So, what actually happens when a routine stop turns into a total legal minefield? Look, standard stops for speeding or a broken taillight, those are pretty simple. But today, we really need to build your constitutional toolkit for when absolute curveballs are thrown your way. Because the difference between a minor inconvenience and a massive legal headache usually comes down to exactly how you handle the unexpected.
Let's kick things off with Scenario 19, the passenger's contraband.
Picture this. You're giving a buddy a ride. You get pulled over, and suddenly the officer spots something illegal that belongs to your passenger. If the officer asks you to identify whose property it is, you've got to execute 3 critical moves to prevent unintentional self-incrimination. Step 1, remain completely calm. Step 2, and this is absolutely vital, freeze. Don't reach, don't touch, don't even point at the items, because that can be misinterpreted as you exerting control. And step 3, invoke your right to remain silent immediately.
The crucial point here is that this exact phrasing is your immediate shield. You just say, I wish to remain silent and speak with an attorney. Boom, you're invoking your Fifth Amendment rights because you literally cannot be compelled to identify items as yours or even as not yours. This single statement legally requires officers to stop questioning you about it right then and there.
Now, human nature is a funny thing. Sometimes an item is just glaringly sitting there in plain view and you instinctively panic. If you spontaneously feel the absolute need to disclaim ownership of something clearly visible, say this: that does not belong to me. But then, and this is the hardest part, guys, shut down the conversation completely and invoke counsel. Every extra word is just a potential trap.
So why are we being so overly cautious here? Well, it pulls back the curtain on the hidden mechanics of the legal system. Prosecutors use a legal theory called constructive possession. This means they can charge you, the driver, if they can prove you had both knowledge of the item and control over it, even if your passenger is the actual culprit.
And man, this brilliantly illustrates why you have to save your defense for the courtroom. Trying to argue your ignorance on the roadside often traps you into inadvertently admitting you knew the item was there. Let your attorney handle the whole knowledge and control debate in front of a judge. The roadside is simply not the place to plead your case.
Moving right along, let's look at Scenario 20, the Social Security number request. Okay, this is another highly unusual, totally stressful curveball. You get pulled over, and instead of just asking for a license, the officer outright demands your Social Security number. While law enforcement can obviously request identifying info, demanding an SSN during a routine stop, that's a massive red flag that catches almost everyone completely off guard because we're just so conditioned to hand over whatever they ask for.
Your chain of action here relies on one simple fact. Your driver's license is the primary identifying document required in most states. It gives them all the records they need. So step 1, remain calm. Step 2, provide your driver's license. And step 3, gracefully but firmly decline that SSN request.
Officer, I am not comfortable providing my Social Security number. I am happy to provide my driver's license and registration. It's polite, it's crystal clear, and it is legally defensible in virtually all states to push back against this unusual request. It shows you're being cooperative while still protecting your highly sensitive data.
But, what if they push back? If the officer presses you further for the SSN, deploy this follow-up script. I would prefer to consult with an attorney before providing that information. This firmly establishes your boundaries and moves the interaction securely into the realm of your protected legal rights.
Pulling back the curtain again, why did they even ask for this? Usually it just points to a legitimate identity verification hiccup in the officer's dispatch system. Maybe your name is incredibly common, or there's some database glitch. It's a real issue on their end, sure, but that can still be resolved without you ever handing over your SSN.
The chain of thought behind your refusal here is deeply rooted in the Privacy Act of 1974. Basically, this federal law limits the government's collection of Social Security numbers without specific legal authority. While state laws do vary a bit, the overarching principle is that your SSN is highly protected data.
So, that brings us to your ultimate legal shield.
Zooming out from both the contraband trap and the SSN demand, look at the core principles here.
First, the Fifth Amendment protects your silence. Second, privacy rights exist to limit government overreach, but you have to actively assert them. And third, maybe most importantly, the roadside is never the courtroom. Both of these wild scenarios require you to physically comply, verbally assert your constitutional boundaries, and leave the actual legal battle to your lawyer.
So here's a question for you. If a routine traffic stop suddenly turns into a legal minefield today, are you truly prepared to use your constitutional toolkit? It's a provocative thought to leave you with for sure, but internalizing these exact scripts and understanding the mechanics behind them could literally be the single most important thing you do to protect your future. Thanks for joining me on this explainer today, and remember, knowledge is your absolute best defense.